Hey family, it's me, Queenie Brown. Thank you so much for joining me today for our live reading of the Self-Love Lessons. 7 lessons every woman must learn about herself and the power of womanhood. I am your host today, and we have been reading the Self-Love Lessons. I am a certified master life and business coach and a mentor to moms, and I'm also the author of the Mother-Daughter Journal, which is a faith-based interactive mother's mentorship tool designed to build and heal the mother-daughter bond. And it is now available in Spanish as well as English. So if you haven't had a chance, please feel free to go to www.queeniebrown. Actually, you can go to queeniebrown.com too, but www.themotherdaughterjournal.com and take a look and learn more about it. All right, today we are continuing in self-love lesson number 4, which is how to know who you are not, and how to never forget. And we've been talking about power, and today we're going to be talking about overflow and what abundance looks like. So if this is your first time joining us, please feel free to go to www.queeniebrown.com, download your free copy of the self-love lessons. It's from my heart to yours. And then join us on page 317. And we're talking about the principle of overflow. All right, we're going to jump on into it today. I got to get moving. All right, so let me pull it up for you. If you haven't already, make sure that you like and subscribe, follow and share, do all the things so that we can let more people know that we're doing the readings today. And let's go ahead and get it going. So the principle of overflow. Generally speaking, when a woman comes to wholeness, I'm putting air quotes, physically during puberty, she's then able to reproduce over and over again throughout her life with a new opportunity up to 12 times each year. I know that most of us have never thought about female reproduction in that way, but I was forced to think about it when a neighborhood cat got pregnant. Then her 2 babies got pregnant and delivered both litters. Then the 2 babies, who were now mothers, got pregnant again and delivered 2 more litters. I thought it would never end. All of them didn't survive, and someone adopted the grandmother kitty. Someone else took the 4 babies from the 1 litter to a shelter. So now there were only the 2 mothers and 1 child, and yes, she was a girl. I would have loved to have gotten them all fixed at the time, but and so that I could have enjoyed them, but that didn't happen. I share this because if left to their own devices, they could literally reproduce multiple times each year, which in my opinion is a great example of the concept of overflow. All of those kittens were the offsprings of 1 grandmama kitty, and in only a matter of 3 years, over 20 cats were born. Overflow is the exponential harvest that we can expect to receive from each and every seed that we plant. According to Genesis 1:12, every seed produces after its kind. And the earth brought forth grass and herb yielding seed after its kind, and the tree yielding fruit, whose seed was in itself after his kind. And God saw that it was good. That was Genesis 1:12. The important thing to remember is that none of this could have happened in the first place if the first cat hadn't reached the state of fullness or completion, right? For us, that physical fullness is reached during puberty. However, I can't think of any woman who can honestly say that when she reached physical fullness, that any area of her life was even remotely in the ballpark of fullness. And while fullness is a relative term, let's use a little wisdom and willingness to embrace a different way of looking at womanhood, the way that it was originally intended. So I'm going to tell you a quick word about infertility, and I'm going to share a little story with you. A word about infertility. Are you sensitive about infertility? Don't allow it to cause you to fear reading on. Remember, God called us to be fruitful and multiply. He promised wholeness and healing, and this book will help you grow your faith and help God make good on his word. Your faith carries with it the power to make you whole. Okay, so it's interesting. As I read this, I'm reminded of back during COVID, I created a garden, and I decided I wanted to plant some flowers for cutting because I wanted my girls to, number one, see the process of going from a seed to a flower. We were already producing goodness, cucumbers and tomatoes and squash and zucchini and butternut squash and tomatoes and bell pepper and spinach and watermelons. Oh my goodness, I grew so many watermelons and herbs and all this stuff in this garden. It was phenomenal. I learned so much from it. But I decided I wanted to grow some flowers so that my girls could have flowers to cut and put them in vases and so forth. So I went to the store and got this pack of seeds. And at the time, I wanted to grow some sunflowers. I thought they'd be cute. The little tiny sunflowers, you can have a bunch of them in a little bouquet and they would keep growing. And so I had this big plan. So I planted them all. I seeded them in a little tray and I had them all growing and they all sprouted up and they were so cute. And I had a friend who was a master gardener at the time. And I told her, girl, I'm growing these cute little sunflowers. And she said, well, what kind of sunflowers are they? I said, I don't know. I don't know. They're sunflowers. Who knew? So she said, well, just double check the pack and make sure they're not the kind that I think they might be. And so I ran to the little jar where I had all my seeds and I pulled it out and I said, well, it says mammoth on them. And she started laughing. Who knew? She said, look at the back. I looked at the back and it said that they could grow from 11 to 15 feet tall. I was like, oh my God, that's a little bigger than I thought. So right then I realized I'm going to have to not grow these things as big as they can grow. So I decided to stunt their growth. And the way you do that is you don't give them a pot big enough to where they can become the full grown plant they can be. There's a message in that too. If you are designed to have a big vision and you're in a small environment with not enough nutrients and sustenance, you won't grow your vision. You will grow a smaller vision and your growth and that vision will be stunted. I digress. So anyway, these sunflowers, they grew up and they were huge and they were big. And I had 9 of them in one small pot just to keep them from growing too big. And by the time they got bigger, did I separate them? I think I did. I think I separated a few of them so that they could grow a little bit. But anyway, when it reached the fullness, the heads on these sunflowers were huge. They were like this big. And I remember one day seeing this bird. I had never seen this kind of bird before. It was like a brown and white bird, really strange looking bird. And it was on top of the sunflower. And all of a sudden I saw the sunflower dip and then stand up. And I thought, what in the world was that? I went outside and there were seeds all over the ground. And I thought, oh, wow. There's, as they say, they've set seeds. The seeds have come to fullness on the sunflower. So when I looked at the head, I realized how many seeds were in that head. Now, granted, I had stunted the growth of my sunflowers. And so, of course, I decided to do some research. Oh, sorry, y'all. Excuse me. Go to confessionmugs.com, get your confession mug. So I looked it up to find out how many seeds could one of these sunflower heads produce. And what I learned was that one mammoth sunflower head could produce 1,000 seeds. 1,000 seeds. So think about that. If one sunflower seed planted in the ground could produce the fruit that would develop 1,000 more seeds, what if I planted 1,000 of those seeds? What would that produce? That 1,000 seeds would produce the harvest of 1,000,000 more seeds. So in 2 generations, one seed can become 1,000,000. That's exponential harvest. I think my math is right. I'm not going to double check it right now. But even if it's not, that's a lot of seeds. That's a lot of seeds. And so when we think about the fact that God put the ability for us to manifest exponentially, he put that ability on the inside of us. And so we get to nurture what God put on the inside of us in the hopes that manifestation will come to pass in our lives. And it can be exponential. So we've got to think about overflow in greater terms than we do right now. We got to think about the fact that when we are creating our God vision, that he has the potential to make something massive out of something incredibly small. And if you think about it, he says that if we have the faith of a mustard seed, it can produce an exponential harvest. So when you think about what God's put on the inside of you, and you think about the things that you are creating in your life, know that it can produce something massive. Know that it can be an exponential harvest. And there's also a concept called a bumper crop harvest. And that's where farmers, when they sow their seeds, they'll sow seeds, and then a few weeks later, they'll sow more seeds in the same ground. And then, of course, what happens when the harvest comes up? The harvest will come. They'll pick the harvest from it, and then 3 or 4 weeks later, you'll get a whole nother fresh harvest. And that's just doubling your impact. That's exponential impact. So keep that in mind. God promised us overflow. He promised us abundance. He said, look at the numbers of the stars in the skies. You can't even number them. He said, try to count the grains of sand on the beach. You can't number them. Think about how many blades of grass there are, how many leaves are on a tree. All of these things are God's concept of abundance. We're going to talk about abundance again, if we haven't already. But yeah, so I just wanted you to give that some thought as you think about what God is creating on the inside of you. He intends to manifest on the inside of you in abundance to the full till it overflows. All right. So keep that in mind. Thank you so much for watching. I'm super excited that you joined me today. And make sure you like and subscribe and follow. We're making our way through this. Tomorrow, we're going to be talking about the principle of receiving and how we all need to just get a bigger cup, right? So thanks for watching. Be sure to like, subscribe, follow, share, do all the stuff so that we can share this with more people. And join me in the Mother Love community where we're going to go and get a little bit more meat off this phone. All right. Be blessed. Thanks so much for watching. And I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. Oh, no, tomorrow's Saturday. I'll see you on Monday. Bye. See ya.